Having just learned former NBA star Gilbert Arenas has been arrested. He and 5 others are accused of operating an illegal gambling business. The Department of Justice says they had high-stakes poker games at Arenas' Encino mansion. Arenas is charged with 1 count of conspiracy to operate an illegal gambling business, 1 count of operating an illegal gambling business, and 1 count of making false statements to federal investigators.
Good afternoon. This is the KTLA 5 News at 1. I'm Glenn Walker.
And I'm Lou Parker. Arenas is expected to make his first appearance in a federal courtroom this afternoon.
KTLA 5's Jennifer McGraw live now outside that courtroom in downtown L.A. with more on this breaking story. Jennifer.
Yeah, Glenn and Lou, this is big news, especially for sports fans who adore him. Take a look. This happened back allegedly in 2021 to 2022 that he was allegedly working this illegal poker game. He and 5 others have been indicted, alleging that the suspects operated an illegal gambling business. Now, this illegal gambling business went and spanned over for about a year. Gilbert Arenas, known as Agent Zero, well known for his career with the Wizards and current podcast, he and 5 others have been indicted for allegedly that the suspects operated the illegal gambling business in which high-stakes poker games were played at an Encino mansion Arenas owned. He is charged with 1 count of conspiracy to operate an illegal gambling business, 1 count of operating an illegal gambling business, and 1 count of making false statements to federal investigators. During this time, investigators say Arenas rented out an Encino mansion he owned for the purposes of hosting that high-stakes poker. At Arenas' direction, Arthur Katz, 51, of West Hollywood, staged the mansion to host the games and collected rent from the co-conspirators on Arenas' behalf. Here's a look at all the defendants listed on the indictment. It is alleged that the defendants' Pot Limbo Omaha poker games, among other illegal games, were played at the Encino mansion, collected a rake fee for the house charged from each pot, either as a percentage or as a fixed amount per hand, and invited players to compete, now, which is illegal. Now, if these defendants that have been listed in this indictment are charged, this means that they could spend up to 5 years in prison for each count.
Yo, it's Big Ed, the spokesman, man. We back. Another edition of Urban Politicians TV, UPTV. Make sure you stay on your pivot at all times, man. Had to come tap in, and I had a links in the description for ABC7 and KTLA5 as the news just broke within the last few hours that Gilbert Arenas was arrested on federal gambling charges out in LA. And this came in while I was doing the video over Shannon Sharpe. Y'all started hitting me up, sending it to me, tagging me, even commenting in the Shannon Sharpe video as he just got fired and let go by ESPN. And I said, wow, they is really on niggas right now. As is layers to this. He's looking at 15 years, and I'm going to get into the write-up in just a second to go over a little bit more and some details with this. This comes off as Gilbert Arenas was dealing with some foreigners right here and got involved in some crimes that they already had going on, and this got added to the list of their investigation that was already underway because they talking about marriage licenses, and these guys are from Israel. And when I see these names right here, this don't sound like people that Gilbert Arenas just hangs out with in his day-to-day programming and lifestyle. Now, I'll say innocent until proven guilty, but the 3 counts that he got, his home, there's no denying that. If that is true, if that is your house, if you agreed upon it, you know it's no denying that if that's true. And if you lied to the feds, that's at least something that they are going to try to charge you and get possibly some time off of you on. Just keeping it all the way 100 here. He is innocent until proven guilty. But you better know that these people from these other countries ain't got no loyalty at all. They saying there was workers there. They're saying that there was like girls and women serving them there. And when your name is documented and you taking these things off as far as, hey, I'm getting a little piece of the pie every time, which is the house fee. That's how I go, you know, even in the streets, in the hood, if you just gambling somewhere. It's minor to us. It's simple to us. It ain't that big a deal. This doesn't make Gilbert Arenas a bad person or a negative guy at all. But when the feds get involved, they gonna carry it how they carry it, especially with the people you involved with. Got some whole other stuff going on that don't seem like it got nothing to do with Gilbert Arenas, not one bit. And the write-up says this: the 43-year-old, aka Agent Zero of Woodland Hills, is charged with 1 count of conspiracy to operate in an illegal gambling business, and 1 count of operating an illegal gambling business, and 1 count of making false statements to federal investigators. The U.S. Attorney Office said in a release on Wednesday. At Arenas' direction, Arthur Katz, 51 of West Hollywood, staged the mansion to host the games, found co-conspirators to host the games, and collected rent from the co-conspirators on Arenas' behalf, prosecutors allege. Also charged in the indictment and arrested are, and I'm not going to pronounce these names, y'all, because I'm going to mess them up anyway, so I'm going to just give abbreviations on these names. YG 49, aka Giora of Woodland Hills, a suspected organized crime figure from Israel. ET 48, aka Eugene of Tarzana. Alan Austria, aka Alicia of West Hills. YC, aka of Tarzana, and IK 43 of Tarzana. Gertrude T in Austria and Cohen are accused of managing illegal pot limit Omaha poker games, among other illegal games, at the RCO mansion, and collected a rake, a fee the house charged from each pot, either as a percentage or a fixed amount per hand, and invited players to compete. G is also accused of hiring young women to serve drinks, give massages, and companionship to poker players in exchange for tips. However, they were charged a tax for working the games. Chefs, valets, and armed security guards were also hired for the games. K is accused of working as a chip runner. He's accused of tracking players' wins and losses, distributing poker chips to players, and paid employees. Each of these defendants is charged with 1 count of conspiracy to operate in illegal gambling business and 1 count of operating in illegal gambling business. The release continued. If convicted, they would face a maximum sentence of 5 years in federal prison for each count. G is an Israeli citizen. He and 35-year-old Valentina C. of Woodland Hills are charged with 3 additional counts: conspiracy to commit marriage fraud, and making false statements on an immigration document. And they just got a whole world wearing the capital C's going on. And y'all know what the capital C's is: controversy, chaos, confusion, conflict, confrontation, and all that to keep the algorithm in conversation. As we said, now we got to add crash or not to the conversation in the situation. But I'll say this for Gilbert Arenas. He probably thought, hey, bro, this ain't no big deal. We gambling, we rich, we having a good time. But the dude you having a good time with got some whole other stuff going on from the looks of it. And one of them being somebody who's involved in what they called organized crime. Oh, yeah, he just drug you into his stuff, his capital C, just keeping it all the way 1,000. Gilbert Arenas, that been through legal issues or just issues in his career with the gun stuff. We all know about it. Take all my guns to work. Gilbert Arenas out there in D.C. With the Wizards. You remember that? That was wild, but got past that, retired, and got one of the most popular sports podcasts right now with Gil's Arena. And this is just some crazy news. We've been seeing a lot of athletes or former athletes catching charges and get took down. See one of the Morris brothers, some alleged check fraud. We see what's going on right now with just Beasley getting investigated. The other guy that already pled guilty. Other guys was accused of doing some type of fraud stuff. This ain't that's going on, but yeah, man, it's crazy. We're going to see this get talked about all over the other sports podcasts, and we'll see what Gil's Arenas go from here. Pretty sure he's a person that's going to come speak on it when it's time to. Probably got to stay quiet for a little bit right now for his keeping this. That'll be his best situation with this being a legal issue. Can't really speak too much on it, but yeah, man, it's real right now in the field, and it's a tough one, dog. Yeah, looking at some time. They're lying to the feds, most definitely. Get you something. They're sending you back there for at least a year on that. Just keeping it 1,000, bro, when it comes to you being involved with the crime. Just keeping it all the way 100. Tell me what y'all think. We got more coming, more videos, all that. 1,000 for shit show. Stay on your pivot.